Okay, on to week 11. Let's see, where are we at? Where are we at? Week 11. Hopefully you've had a little easier time finding it than I did. Alright, so first and foremost, your assignment this week will, of course, start off by watching this video. Go ahead and finish this video. After you do that, go ahead and read the rhetorical analysis of visual texts in your rhetoric book. Let me see here. Where is that? Okay. Oops. That's the kind of the red one. Bam, right there. And on page 237, that's where you're reading. Let me turn to that real quick so I can get a refresher on this. I'll get there. Alrighty, 237. Looks like this. There we go. Visual analysis of, or wait, what does that say? Rhetorical analysis of visual text. And so we've talked about rhetoric, we talked about rhetorical strategies, ethos, pathos, logos, all that stuff. And we talked about audience and purpose and genre, all the stuff that kind of goes into writing. And so now we're taking those rhetorical strategies and we're looking at how you can analyze visual text. Now, why are we doing that? Well, it's because of this guy right here. This whole project is actually focused, the writing project 4, is actually focused around on modalities, multimodality. And what that means is that there's multiple modes of communication to present some sort of idea. And so in this case, it's going to be your social issue. You're going to be proposing a solution to it. And the multimodality part of it is you presenting kind of an oral presentation of another modality. So while the oral while the verbal presentation, like you're actually standing up, and I'll show you how to record yourself and we'll post it online. While you're doing that, you're also at the same time giving a presentation online of some kind of website or Twitter or Facebook or petition or some kind of online web-based mode of communication that you've created. During the oral presentation, you're actually walking us through that on here, and I show you how to use my what am I looking for? My desktop recorder, this thing that I'm using here. Actually show you how to use that so you can record your own desktop. Sorry, my nose is running. Okay, so after you've done that, go to page 254 and it's activity 5.21 and answer one of the questions from there, and do that in at least 250 words. And we're talking a little bit about analyzing visual text there as well, or multimodality, whatever you want to call it. After you've done that, now let's get on to the actual writing project, and here are the guidelines. So I've kind of already explained it a little bit. Your whole job here is to write an essay where you propose a solution to your social issue, and once you've done that in 4 to 5 pages, there's also a presentation variable to this, to where you'll verbally present whatever it is that your solution is. And then also your solution should be presented online in some form or fashion, like on a website or a Facebook or whatever, presenting it to the public. And so in your presentation, you're actually going through your Facebook page and you're saying, here's where I outline my problem, because you should have a social issue. And so there should be a problem kind of attached to your social issue. And then here's your solution to that problem. You're going to outline that on your Facebook page and in your essay. Everything that's in your essay also goes in your Facebook page or your website or whatever it is that you build. You're turning your essay into an online presentation of some kind, and then for this class you're recording yourself as you walk us through that website and say, basically treat us, the people that are going to watch your video, as people that could potentially join your cause and support your solution. So you're coming here and you're in the video, this is much later, I'll go over this several times between now and the end of the class, so don't worry, I realize I'm throwing a lot at you, but basically in your video you're going to go through, let's say you do a Facebook page, you'll go through your Facebook page and say, here in this section is where I talk about my problem, and my problem is this. Over here in this section where I talk about the solution, and my solution is this. And then down here, the third part of it is where you explain the benefits. Like you kind of provide some evidence that says, this is how I know my solution is going to work. And that might be another section of your Facebook page. And so in your video, you'll say, this is where I talk about my solution, and here's where I talk about the evidence, and here's why I know my solution will work. And you kind of explain it verbally. And down here is where it explains the visual part of that argument. It has to just be a web-based media of some kind. It can't just be a PowerPoint, no PowerPoints. It has to be something that the world can see. And so it has to be something online that the world can see. It can't just be like a Word document and then you save it on your computer, or in this case, what do they call it? A PowerPoint, because nobody's going to see that. And I mean, you could publish it online, but that doesn't really have the same effect. So that's why it has to be a web-based media. Over here, you guys know the drill. These are the due dates for all the assignments. Again, if you're in the future, these due dates are going to be different, but they will be due. You'll be able to find them in the weeks. I doubt anybody really even uses this page anymore. I think everybody just uses the folders. Anyways, that's a good approach. So just go by whatever's due in the weekly content folders, as you have most likely for the rest of this class. This essay needs 5 credible sources. In the past, I think you only needed 3, so now you're up by 2. So let's go and find 2 more. Hopefully, if you've kept the same issue throughout all 4 of the writing projects, now you're to the point where you can start just kind of building on what you already have. You have 3 sources. Hopefully, now you can build it up to 5. And if you have some sections from your older essays that you can now use, make sure you make changes to them based on what feedback I gave you, because if you don't, then I'm going to count double points if I take off for the same thing again, because at this point it's kind of on you. Shame on you for not having fixed it by now. And so if you do have information from your first essay, if you want to take a paragraph from your first essay and use it in this essay, or your third essay, or your second, whatever, you can do that as long as you make changes based on what the feedback I've given you. So anyways, after you review that a little bit more, where are we at? Week 11. Then come down here and watch these videos. I go over those guidelines a little bit more here. And then modes and modality. I explain what modality is and what modes are and things like that. And then this guy does it as well. He's actually, Dr. Bresimar, he is kind of an expert in it, and so he's a good person to learn from. Here I talk about the essay structure, which I kind of mentioned briefly earlier, and then we start working on our thesis right away. And so down here, your assignment, really the only assignment for this week, pretty easy, aside from that, the textbook work up here, is to just work on your thesis. So submit your thesis, I'll take a look at them, and I'll say, either good job, or here's some ways that you can improve on that. Just make sure that you follow the SOAR acronym, because that's really the only thing I look at for your thesis. If you have all 4 elements in there somewhere, then you're going to be good. Really what I suggest is just kind of, once you write your thesis, go back and look at your thesis and then see if you can apply pieces of the thesis to different parts of the SOAR acronym. So for instance, pull the subject out of your thesis and say, okay, this is where the subject is. Then go to your thesis and pull out the opinion and be like, okay, this is the opinion, here's the action, and here's the reason. If you can do that, and as long as it's clear, because remember, I have to be able to do it too, then you should do pretty well on your thesis. But anyways, that's all that's due this week, and so make sure you're working on that, and then of course send me emails, text, or phone calls if you need anything. And also a reminder, if you do need to call me, make sure you leave a message so that I know you're not some kind of weird salesman just trying to sell me something. Alright? So anyways, have a good week, and I'll see you in week 12.